Everybody got their coffee? All right.
Oh, yeah. Brain juice.
I hear you. Did you guys see where, I guess 150 Cadillac dealers took GM up on their offer?
No, I missed that one.
Yeah, good riddance.
Yeah, so GM gave them that opportunity for a buyout if they didn't want to go electric. So 150 of them said okay.
That was lower than I thought it'd be.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I guess the dealership has to kind of tool up and train up to go electrical because it's a completely different technology, you know?
Yeah, that estimate was $200,000 worth of equipment and training.
Wow.
Yep.
Was that 5 Cadillacs?
Yeah. Probably 3.5.
3.5 Cadillacs, yeah.
Well, if they're Escalades or something, I think those things can run 6 figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just saw this morning that Tesla put out their very first diversity report.
Yeah.
Turns out Tesla is a majority-minority company. And I can, after touring their Fremont plant, I can agree with that. Most of the people working there were people of color.
Huh.
Gee, Larry, you should have brought us some breakfast too.
Yeah, I just ran out and got a Tudor's biscuit.
Oh man, now I'm jealous.
Yeah.
We don't have tutors up here, and I miss that.
How close do they get?
I think Morgantown is the closest one to us.
No.
I've actually I played around with the ideas like, I wonder if I could get a franchise to open up here. That, and I miss tutors, and I miss what else do I miss? The Pies and Pints. We don't have a Pies and Pints out here either.
Well, apparently Fayetteville is becoming quite the incubator for restaurants. Secret Sandwich Society, which burnt down, by the way.
Right, I saw that.
Is going to open a branch in Charleston.
Awesome.
They're still going to rebuild in Fayetteville, right, Marty?
Yeah, they said they would.
Pies and Pints is, I mean, it's not just in the state. I mean, they've went over the southeast and Ohio, and just they've branched out.
Wow.
They have a location in Alabama, a few in Ohio, I think. I don't know what other states might have them. Maybe Kentucky.
But they're still headquartered in Fayetteville?
I mean, that's where the original restaurant was, but of course, the restaurant now versus like the franchise holding company kind of stuff, I don't know if that's actually based in Fayetteville or not.
Well, I had heard that they were going to build put up a new building in Fayetteville, somewhere closer to the freeway.
Good stuff. Well, I got 9:03, so I might wait just another minute.
Morning, John and Rick.
Good morning, all. Larry, everybody.
Morning, Jim. John.
Hi, John and Jim.
Marty,
And
Rick,
everyone else on the call.
everybody.
One thing, one thing's kind of interesting in my neighborhood here is that the John Amos plant's been down about 3 weeks.
No, what's the reason? Maintenance or something?
I don't know. Last year, same way. They were down for, I think, over a month, same time last year.
It could be an annual turnaround or something.
They still got a mountain of coal over there, but and they have to keep stirring it with that bulldozer to keep them having hot spots.
All right. Well, it's almost 5 after. We can go ahead and get started. And if anyone else joins, plus we've got this recording, so folks will be able to see the recording. All right. So welcome to Virtual Coffee and EVs, everyone. Looks like we got kind of the regular crowd. As far as topics, I sent out 3 in the email that we could talk about today. And then if we want to get into anything else, of course, we can do that. So maybe let's start with the EV charging infrastructure updates. I think, Marty, you had a couple updates that you wanted to share.
Oh, yeah. I heard from Chip Pickering, and he tells me that he also funded a charger at the Arthurdale Heritage Site, which is near Morgantown. Anybody familiar with that? I think it's one. During the Depression, there were 2 model cities that were funded under a program run by Eleanor Roosevelt. One was in Putnam County, Eleanor, and the other was Arthurdale. And they, I guess, paid for or subsidized the construction of new houses and stuff in those 2 towns. And there's so Chip said he's funded EVSE there. What road's that on? Route 7.
92.
Okay. Well, that looks like that's in. Is that in it's either Monongalia County or Preston County, right on the border
Yeah.
between the 2.
Yes, I guess 7. Yeah, you're right. Coming out of Morgantown, and then I guess that
so
becomes 92.
So he's posted one there, and he says he's working with folks in Marlinton who put one there, and it looks like the charger in Lewisburg is up and running. So all that's good news. We're seeing more destination chargers around the state, which is, part of what's necessary for getting EVs up and running.
And is that a destination? Because it seems to me that putting level 2, AC level 2 at a place that's not an overnight spot to stay doesn't make a whole lot of sense. What are others' opinions?
Well, Arthurdale has a visitor center, I believe, and you could spend a few hours looking around there, I guess.
Yeah, I guess then if you're not 75 miles, that would help.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be overnight stay, but somewhere where you're going to be for a few hours. Like I remember going over from here over to Canaan Valley State Park, and by the time I got to Canaan Valley, and even in the Tesla, I mean, I think I only had around 100 miles remaining. So, I had to charge somewhere before I left, but, they've got the chargers there. So I was going to be at a meeting for like 4 hours. So I plugged in, and by the time I left, I had pretty much almost a full charge. Of course, the Tesla chargers are usually a little higher amperage.
I have a
Marty and
little,
I gave a talk up in Flatwoods once, and at the inn up on the top of the hill, they had a NEMA 1450 plug. They have an KOA RV park, but I brought my EVSE, and I just plugged in for the 2 hours they were there, and I got 50 miles to get back home.
Yeah, so I think there's still value in having the level 2s, but you're right. I mean, it can't be somewhere. It can't be like a Sheetz, because you're not going to be at a Sheetz that long. But if it's someplace, a hotel, restaurant, mall, somewhere where you're going to be there for a little bit.
What I think most of the ones we've seen around the state, especially the ones that Chip has help fund. I've been in appropriate locations. He's put them at Green Bank. You're going to spend more than 15 minutes at Green Bank, and if you are there to visit, and now at the park in Lewisburg, which is close to shopping and restaurants and the student parking at Fairmont and Wesley. Both of those, you're going to be there at least for an hour-long class.
Well, and I guess the other side of this is also the AC charging stuff, level 2 stuff, is relatively inexpensive. I mean, so you can have a proliferation of those without investing, six-figure dollars into charging stations.
Could we have an arm of our organization that's interested in getting workplace charging going more? Because 8 hours at the workplace, even if you do it once a week, and 5 different people get to plug in, maybe 10 if there's an evening shift, should we be looking at businesses that could, for very little money, put in that and offer that, and then maybe get more people at those businesses to want to buy electric? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know that the adoption rate is such yet in the state where it would make economic sense for businesses. I know, like up here, that Marty, you were there at the first Indu we did up here, the distribution company.
Yeah, the brewery.
Yeah, they had eight chargers put in, but of course, that's what they said. Nobody ever uses them.
They actually took them out, didn't they?
No, they're still there. I heard there was a rumor that they took out, but the last time I was there, they were still there, and that wasn't too awfully long ago.
Okay.
Sometimes they're inoperative. But to your point, Rick, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, I think it'd be great if a business is willing to do it. I don't know that we could provide good data that would help justify that decision in the state.
I think both ChargePoint and Tesla have ongoing programs for maybe not necessarily for workplaces, but for apartments and things like that. Both of them have Wi-Fi connective charging systems with multiple outlets in their portfolio of things they're selling. So you can now buy the high powered wall chargers from Tesla that are Wi-Fi activated, so the owner can charge people to plug in, and it just ends up on the Tesla bill, on your credit card bill. Mm-hmm. And so it's as seamless as supercharging. And the same for ChargePoint has a system, so you can put a bank of ChargePoint connections out in a parking lot or somewhere, and they're all connected by Wi-Fi to ChargePoint's billing system. So that's available, but I don't think there's a big marketing push in West Virginia for it.
But I guess back to your point, Rick, I mean, there could be certain types of locations. I think you'd have to have a large number of employees. I'm thinking what did come to mind was, like, say, the state, the Capitol, and all the employee parking that's there. I mean, there is a large number of people who work at the Capitol. And so out of that huge number of people, you might have enough EVs where you might be able to justify something like that. Of course, that's government. But if there were other locations where there were a large number of EVs, it might be justifiable. But, I mean, we could reach out and encourage people to start considering it and thinking about it, point them towards Tesla, ChargePoint, serve as a resource if they have questions. We could do those kinds of things. Especially if you've got any workplaces in mind. Sounds like you're already working with Marshall. Schools.
I was just thinking more that you were discussing the place where you stay 3 or 4 hours. Well, the next idea is maybe 8 hours, and then of course overnight for the most part is 12. So the state parks and the bed and breakfasts, that's wonderful to have an overnight 12, and they make enough money. If you go to Gillum House at $200 a night, they can give you the $5 worth of electricity, and they're still making. If they get one person to come, which was me, and I did it twice, who otherwise would not have $400 paid for electricity for a long time. And they, like Marty said, they got the program where Tesla did the installation of theirs, and all she had to do, I think, was maybe pay for the Clipper Creek. And so then that worked out fine for her. But I'm thinking of destination chargers, but then maybe 8-hour places with a schedule, and then maybe the occasional, Huntington Museum of Art. You're going to be there for 2 hours, or the Heritage Farm Museum. You're going to be there 2 hours. So maybe it would, but they have to recoup their investment. So you have to, and the Wi-Fi is so expensive. I mean, you're really talking about, and I know my charger, as most of yours, cost me $500. The very same charger in a commercial setting costs $2,000, and it's the warranty. It's not the workmanship. So you're right; those people they get cleaned out, and they never get that $2,000 back.
Well, and I get one other point about workplace charging is, I mean, when you think about places like museums, restaurants, malls, parks, their potential target audience is virtually unlimited. I mean, they can have any number of people from anywhere stopping there for any reason to visit for a period of time. But if you're targeting employees of a location, you have a very small group of people that's always the same every day. So, yeah, 8 hours of charging.
That place more for the 4 hour or for the 2 hour charger while you're there for a visit, not workplace charging.
Oh, not workplace charging for employees. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, we don't want to spend too much time on this topic, but that is a good thing we can think about.
I did have a little story about the Lewisburg charger.
Oh,
yeah.
If you can pull up PlugShare, Robert, and look at the latest post on, I think it's called Moncom Commons.
Yeah, I'll get it here.
I have an abscessed tooth, so I went to my dentist in Lewisburg a couple days ago and stopped in to plug in over there and talked to Cliff for a while and saw where they were putting in the next chargers. So they have 2 up and running there at that one spot, and they're putting in a new parking lot with 2 more chargers immediately, and they're wiring conduit for several more.
Oh, so wow.
It's quite a deal, that upper one, I think. Or no. Yeah.
So they'll have at least 4 in that one parking lot?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is Fountain Park, Montwell Commons.
Yeah, it's in Lewisburg.
Yeah, down south of the interstate. There's a picture of a white Tesla, if you can pull that one up.
Well, this is a Leaf.
It's the third one, or latest
post. Here.
Okay, that's my bolt next to Tesla from Covington, Virginia guy. I think his name was Jeff Brady. And he was really interested. I talked to him for like a half hour. And he was thrilled to find this charger. And so those are 2 of the, what do they call, Clipper Creek? 2 of them that are active back there. And they have a light that comes on and stuff at night, like motion activated. It's pretty nice. They don't have the spaces marked yet. And the last time I was there were ICE cars parked and I couldn't get near it. But this time I was able to stretch to where I am Cliff was out there, right? So he came, helped plug me in, stretched across the Tesla cord and reached the bolt. So, but it's real nice. And there's, pizza place and some other places to eat there, and you can walk up to town. And then they're putting in another one up in town somewhere. I think they have 1 active there now. So they're really getting serious with the level 2s.
Cool. So, and as I was on the map here looking for Lewisburg, I noticed up here Marlington.
North on 219.
Yeah, you're going the wrong way.
Am I going the wrong way?
You go north.
There it is.
There you go.
I noticed that there was one popping up here now, but it's not the new ones. Oh, it's restricted. State Farm. Okay, so somebody in Marlinton at the State Farm office put in a charger.
The Chevy dealer also has one, but they don't put it on PlugShare. I've called down there about, trying to encourage somebody to put it in at the Chevy dealer. They said, we already have one, but they don't put it on PlugShare. It's like the level 8, the DC level 1 chargers that are in Charleston at the Astorg Auto. That's not on PlugShare.
Steve, yeah, do you have a question?
Yeah, we have Shepherdstown Library is building a new library over by the Clarion Inn here, and I've talked with the lady a couple times about getting chargers over there. She's interested in getting a couple of different chargers. She's putting out the contract, a builder contract right now. I think they're bidding on it, but I haven't seen the plans or anything else. Has anybody made contact with that library system to see if there's some assistance we can provide them to get a couple of chargers put in the new construction? I know she was considering it. She's also going to put solar in as well. So I don't know.
Where's this?
Shepherdstown. Shepherdstown has got a new library they're building, and there's a Clarion Inn. There's quite a few chargers, free chargers.
Isn't there chargers at the Clarion?
Yeah. The Clarion Inn, it's right next to the Clarion. That's where they're building a new library system.
And there's chargers on campus too, right?
Yes. Well, those I think you have to pay for, but the one in Clarion's free. There's 4 of them in Clarion, 2 Tesla and 2 charge points, and they're free. And then the one like the Bavarian Inn has 3 chargers, 2 Teslas and looks like Electrify America, but one of the Teslas has been broken for 2 years. Nobody fixes it. So, but they're all free. So, because they have a solar, some kind. I heard tell something about West Virginia gives a tax break to businesses if they have solar electric chargers and they provide them to the public for free. They get some kind of tax break.
Well, there was,
No.
not anymore.
Yeah, that might be when they installed those things that was the deal. But you could just plug in.
Yeah, Mountain View Solar did the
oh yes.
did the panels on top of the Bavarian Inn.
Yeah, I think that was about
the
same time the distribution center in Martinsburg. That's why they put in the panels and the electric vehicle chargers is for that credit that existed.
Right. Too bad it's gone, huh?
Yeah.
But anyway, I just didn't know if anybody had made contact.
No, but Steve, if you want to send me a contact or something, I'll send her a note.
Okay.
I did reach out to the Hedgesville Library after they put their solar on to see if they would be interested, but they didn't think they could swing it. But yeah, if they're in the process of construction, they might be able to work that into their plans.
Yeah, the big thing is they were worried about people basically getting free electricity from them, and they're on a pretty tight budget as being a public library. And I says, yeah, but that can be worked with whoever installs the chargers, and they can reimburse you the amount of money after they collect what they get and that kind of stuff. Like maybe ChargePoint would not be the right one there for them. I don't know any other commercial chargers that are non-Tesla. But we have quite a lot of electric cars in Shepherdstown, so I think it would be a good thing. Okay, I'll get the contact to you.
Okay, sure. One other note on charging. We did talk about the Virgin Hyperloop Certification Center on our last members meeting. So I sent a note to them, and somebody responded. Of course, they just basically said, this person was new, but they're the West Virginia project coordinator for the Hyperloop, and said they were, glad we reached out, and of course they're in early planning phases right now. But they said they would certainly be thinking of initiatives, like this as construction plans are being generated. So, they at least acknowledged it and said they would consider it in their plans.
Very, very good. Thank you, Robert, for sending it, and that's a positive response.
Yeah. So still early days, but hopefully that results in something. All right. So what's next? Any other charging updates we want to talk about?
Before you move on, someone's on with just a phone number. You may want to have them introduce themselves to the group.
Oh, you're right.
You're muted.
Anybody recognize that number?
Could whoever is the phone number 304-532-6900 6958, say hello, unmute and say hello.
They're muted, so they need to unmute first.
Right.
Where I'll
There they
unmute them.
go.
I
There
unmuted
they
them.
go.
Hey guys, this is Taylor here. I forgot what button was the unmute button there, but I've just been listening here.
All right, Taylor. Hey, thanks for joining.
Yep. Thank you.
Have you bought a car yet?
No, I haven't. However, I would announce that we did get our we did launch our solar business. So that's some pretty exciting news. We've already had our first customer. However, it was actually just a service call that turned into us fixing a lot of issues. But yeah, and then now we do have a customer that a potential customer that is looking for a system in the range of about a 27 to 30 kW system. So that's
Wow.
pretty exciting.
That's a big one.
Pretty good size, yeah.
Well, it's actually it's more of a commercial project, I guess. But yeah, so we're actually supposed to be meeting sometime early next week. We haven't got anything a date set yet, but they seem to be really interested in taking advantage of the technology. So.
Okay, well, awesome. That's congrats on getting things launched, and best of luck.
What are you calling your business?
Advancing Solar Solutions, and sort of I guess the reason for the namesake is because our philosophy is we want to see solar advance really in every aspect, and we don't want to stick with just the existing technology. We want to move with the technology, I guess you'd say.
Can't really use that acronym though.
We have a
Yes.
Facebook page. Yeah, the acronym is not very favorable. If you, there is a little bit of a joke to it, though. I don't know if you check out our Facebook page and see we have a donkey for our logo, so there's a little bit of a joke with it.
Yeah, a little tongue in cheek there. Okay.
Yeah, when I was younger, there used to be a bicycle ride called the Appalachian Spring Spectacular up in Morgantown every year.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Cosmo Kramer's vanity tag, Ass Man.
Yeah, we're not gonna use our acronym too much. I can say that, but yeah, no, we've had great success even just with that first project. I mean, we the original installers that are now out of business, they pretty well left them out to dry, and we were able to come in and we really fixed up a lot of issues. They had a lot of mistakes in the wiring. There's apparently the installer was just installing a kit. The installer didn't have the knowledge or know-how to actually manufacture their own MC4 connectors on site. So we were able to come in and really clean up a lot of extra connections that they had, and there's actually a whole string of theirs that was down. So we got them making a lot more power.
All right, very nice.
Yeah, there was a guy that Robert and I saw on the Sun, the Solar United Neighborhoods discussion page that was going to do his own, and he had a lot of people chime in about, well, be careful, you really don't want to burn your house down. And there was a contractor got on there and talked about that he had a customer who did burn his house down.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah, you got to be. You definitely need to know what you're doing. I mean, whenever I got into it, I wasn't whenever I did my system, I didn't really know anything about solar whenever I started, of course, but I buckled down and really focused on it. I guess you could say I've been obsessed with it. If you ask any of my friends and family, they'll pretty well tell you that's about all I do is study and research and learn more and more about it. So yeah, it's there's definitely it's a skilled, it's definitely skilled work. But
yeah, there's the National Electrical Code came out with a new version. They refresh every 3 years, and apparently the new version has a lot of changes to the solar requirements.
Well, yeah, for the rooftop solar, the 2017 is a big change. Yeah, my jurisdiction here adopted the 2017, and that requires module level rapid shutdown rather than just array level rapid shutdown.
Right.
So the actual voltage has to be dropped at each module rather than the voltage just being dropped within the what they consider the array boundary. So yeah, that added that was a lot of work for the industry to meet that need, or meet that requirement.
Yeah.
The SMA, which is the company that we're partnered with, and then also Panasonic, we're partnered with them, and they both have solutions through Tygo. I'm sure maybe you guys have heard of those, but that's a very well-known company on the module level shutdown devices.
Okay. Well, sounds good, Taylor. And let's keep us updated on what you're into. And
yeah, sure.
All right. So let's.
check out my Facebook page there. Advancing Solar Solutions. I haven't shared our whole portfolio. I share everything at once. I don't want to dump everything on there at once and then just be silent. So, sort of just sharing something every other day or so here.
Okay, good.
I'm looking forward to coming up and taking a close look at your racking system and all that. As soon as I get a vaccination.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, hey, if I've got an arc flash shield and a face mask, and we can throw on all kinds of PPE if you need to. But you're welcome to anytime.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm real interested too. We might be customers next year. So if you travel to the southern part of the state.
All right. That's good news for the planet right there.
Yep. All right, guys. Let's move on to our next topic, which was there was a topic that was discussed on the listserv here a 3 weeks ago, where we were touching on the road tax, which is collected as part of the annual registration fee for electric vehicles and hybrid electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids. And so there was some pretty strong opinions in that email thread about that. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out to the group and see what folks were kind of feeling about the registration fees. I mean, I can tell you my quick opinion is, my personal opinion is I don't like the idea of fighting road taxes that everyone else has to pay gasoline. However, I would like for it to be fair and equal with ICE vehicles, which it's currently not if you drive low miles. So, and eventually, the whole issue is eventually when more and more vehicles switch to electric power, collecting road tax through gasoline sales isn't going to cut it anymore. There's going to have to be a different solution. And we should be getting into some type of tax scheme that collects, your tax based on miles driven. The more you use the roads, the more tax you should pay. So we need to do that regardless of whether it's a conventionally fueled vehicle or an alternatively fueled vehicle, any vehicle. But anyway, other thoughts?
I like your idea, Robert, but it also needs to take the weight of the vehicle into account. And I mean anything above like 10,000 pounds.
Well, yeah, it would be based on class of vehicles, like the DMV, existing DMV classes.
Right.
One thing is you got to be careful talking about taking tax off gas. We don't want to make it any more cheaper than it is right now. So definitely for the long term.
Yeah,
as
I guess
far
I
as-
don't like paying that money. And well, gee, it's due here. I have vanity plates, so it's due here in 3 weeks.
Yeah, mine too.
But I'm not certainly not opposed to paying my own fair way. But remember, we're already paying taxes on the electricity, and pretty fortunately, it doesn't go to the highways. It goes to to local governments and schools and things like that. But we pay a pretty substantial sales tax plus B&O tax. It's a pretty good fraction of the cost of electricity, and so we're getting double taxed here with the DMV tax.
If I can add on to that, my wife and I have a hybrid and an electric vehicle, and the hybrid also is getting charged extra, even though we're
Half
buying
as much.
gasoline. So I thought about this. I ran a little algorithm myself about, well, how much really is that tax paying for? And from what I could figure with the hybrid in my Tesla, we're getting way overcharged on this. Because I know that if we had 3 gas burners, we wouldn't be paying that much tax. As far as
Depends on how many miles you drive.
Yeah. Well, right now with COVID, we have.
Everybody's getting killed. Yeah.
But either way, with the amount of driving that we do, even on our hybrid, which is our main car to do very long distances and carry our dog in, I think we're still getting ripped off because of that. So I don't know what their algorithm that they created that with, but every state's different.
Their algorithm's called the Koch brothers.
Yeah, that's it. Well, the thing is, Virginia was cheaper than West Virginia, but even Virginia's was just created by the Republican legislature, I guess, 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, I mean, I can tell you the algorithm that I ran is if you look at the average miles traveled per year in this country per vehicle. So we've got those statistics from the Department of Transportation. And it was like around 13,000 miles a year is the average. And then you look at the average fleet economy of all vehicles. And we've got that information from the federal government. And you look at those and you say, all right, the average vehicle driving the average miles with the average efficiency is going to buy this much gas. And in West Virginia, they're going to pay this much in road taxes. And when I ran that number, the average driver pays around $200 a year in gas taxes. So that's where they came up with that number. It's all based on averages. And if you drive average miles with an average vehicle, then yeah, it's fair. The problem comes if you don't drive average miles. If you only drive 6,000 miles a year, well, now you're paying double what other people pay. But if you drive 30,000 miles a year, you're getting a steal. If you're a traveling salesman, it's a steal. So,
well, and I want to say for pre-pandemic, our Tesla was getting a lot more than the average miles because we were taking on lots of road trips and everything. So we were probably doing better, obviously, during the pandemic, which hopefully will be over in 6 to 12 months. I think I'll be back to that. So, and also, I'm sort of thinking, as what was talked earlier, is not to try and have our organization go fight this. It's good that we discuss it because we trade ideas.
But I don't think that we should fight it. The only thing that I would advocate us doing is I would support trying to make it. I want to make it mileage based because right now, gas drivers during the pandemic, they're not buying gas, they're not paying the tax, they're not using the roads. That's fair. But we are paying the same regardless of whether we're driving or not.
Yeah.
So to be equal with ICE drivers, it needs to be mileage based so that we are paying our fair share, but not more than our fair share.
Yeah.
Anytime you do a flat fee like this, that's the problem with it.
I guess my only thing was I think we should keep a track of what the legislature is doing. If somebody tries to bring in $1,000 tax or something,
yeah, that would be crazy.
We'll need to be down there and go into the state house to watch that. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I think they tried it in Wisconsin or one of those, either Wisconsin or Minnesota, and it failed miserably.
Been tried in several states.
Several states.
Yeah. Well, Pennsylvania just implemented special tax for EVs, and they went to $175. So the $200 is right in there with close to what everybody else is getting whacked.
But I know there are some people, especially in some of that discussion, it was like, well, we shouldn't have to pay property taxes and sales taxes and road taxes, and it's like, well, I don't think the public is not going to support. They basically already see EV drivers getting that $7,500 tax credit on a lot of vehicles, and is not going to say, oh yeah, you need a free ride everywhere. We're not going to subsidize that. I mean, so I think that's gone too far. I mean, given the income tax credit, great. I mean, we use income tax credits to encourage or discourage behavior, and that's fine. That's what they're for. Especially when you have a new industry who's starting up and you need to get a foothold, great. I mean, that's what they exist for. I don't have a problem with that. They should phase out. Now, whether should they have phased out for GM and Tesla, we can debate that. But eventually, yes, they should phase out. But we could do things like the HOV lanes. Like some states give you HOV lane passes to encourage electric vehicle adoption. So those are some things that you can do. But I mean, I don't see cutting out all taxes for everyone who owns an EV.
Yeah, there aren't any of those in West Virginia.
Yeah, and there are no HOV lanes in West Virginia.
The other thing is what the state pays with that money. We think we're paying it because we use the roads. But I have a friend that lives in South Carolina, and he said that their school tax is taken out of the gasoline tax, not out of property tax. And so as COVID has hit and they're making millions of dollars less each month, that's hurting the schools. So we ought to know at least what the government is doing with that money. Are they funding other things other than road construction and repair? Are they siphoning it off for maybe wonderful things like the school system, which I support, but I don't know what they're spending that money on.
Well, and I don't know what they're spending it on, but as far as equality, gasoline drivers who drive X amount of miles per year pay this much in those state taxes.
What I can tell you, the West Virginia, not only does all the DMV fees go to the Department of Highways, but additionally there's general revenue that goes to the Department of Highways. That we spend more than just what our road taxes pay for. And in addition to that, every city spends money on roads. Here in South Charleston, my gas tax doesn't go to help South Charleston pave roads. They do that. There's a quarterly fee we pay that goes to garbage collection and road maintenance and things like that. So
also there's federal highway dollars. I mean, the state doesn't collect enough funds to do all the maintenance on roads and build new roads. So, of course, a lot of those, you see those signs where the vast sum of money for this new interstate construction project comes from the feds. And when I ran those numbers, what I was talking about, that didn't include the federal road tax. Just the state road tax was about $200 a year for the average driver driving average miles, not including the federal taxes. So we still don't pay anything on the federal side.
And the federal highway fund is not only funded from gas taxes. There's also general revenue or borrowings that go into that as well. And I think in some years they actually exceed the amount that's collected from the gas tax.
I mean, I think we all know infrastructure. We don't collect enough in taxes. Really, the taxes if it were all going to roads, we should be collecting more from drivers, and not necessarily us. I mean, the consumer drivers. I think the commercial trucking, the coal trucks, the semis, those are the ones that probably do the most of the damage due to the weight of the vehicles. Those should be paying their fair share as well, and I don't think they are.
Just as an example of the discrepancy between gas and electric, I've got a Kia out here. It's just a backup vehicle. And after about 6 months, I had to put about $20 worth of gas in it. So the road tax I'm paying on it is is very little, but if it was maybe a Leaf or so, that vehicle out there that was getting driven very little, it'd be paying the full $200.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the flat fee. That's the problem that I see. It's a flat fee. It needs to be mileage based.
So on that mileage based algorithm, though, I mean, how do you, without having some way of monitoring what you're driving, which is a little bit questionable, does that mean that anywhere that the gas station or somebody is actually charging you for electricity for your electric vehicle, they would tax it there? But
well, and my thought is, in West Virginia, we mandate an annual inspection. As part of the annual inspection, we can collect the odometer readings, and then everybody, their registration that you get annually, you base that on your last inspection and what the difference is. Do you drove X number of miles between this inspection and this inspection? All right, well, here's what you pay.
Oh, man, there'd be so much shenanigans with that.
I mean, no, but changing that requires lots of changes. I mean, the inspection process would have to change. The DMV systems would have to change. So that's not a small ask. I mean, that would be, a significant amount of work to do that.
But it's an intriguing idea, nonetheless.
Yeah. That's the way that they could get those miles reported automatically. So, good point.
Okay, but yeah, and that's this is something that's it's gonna take a little while, but eventually we're gonna have to get there. I mean, as the proportion of electric vehicles goes up and fewer people are purchasing gas, there's got to be a solution for this. All right, well, let's move on to since we only got 15 minutes left. I know Marty's been working on the anti-icing legislation and got some draft language. So we've included that what Marty was able to get in the email that was sent out, and we wanted to try to get some feedback on that.
I looked at it last night, and actually Susan had these comments. Make the wording in item A, which is plug-in hybrid vehicle or electric vehicle, consistent with what's in B2, where it just says electric vehicle. See, in one place it just says electric vehicle, B2. The other it says plug-in hybrid vehicle or electric vehicle. Mm-hmm. So I'll leave it up to the authors how you want to make that consistent, because when you are drafting or trying to help someone draft legislation, it's critical. I don't know that we need to fix it now.
Maybe we could say like electrified vehicle or something, so that covers. Okay, Rick doesn't like that.
A vehicle that is plugged in.
Yeah, something like that. Plugged in. Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of research for the report, which I did on electrifying our fleet, which gets turned in Monday. That's 6 months worth of work. And in that, I found out that there is the term electric vehicle, which PEV, plugged electric vehicle, is the same. A hybrid is not an electric vehicle because it doesn't derive much of its thing off electricity. But some manufacturers or business people have coined the term electrified so they could include that. So in a dealerships where 50% of our Buicks will be electrified by 2025, they're also counting all of the plain old hybrids.
Plain old hybrids.
So I think we need, now ZEV only applies to a BEV, but PHEVs and BEVs are both EVs and they're both PEVs. But I don't think we want to bring that term electrified in because other people are using it to hurt us.
Well, maybe it becomes plug-in electric vehicle.
Yeah, plug-in. Yeah.
Plug-in electric vehicle, PEV. Mm-hmm. And use that consistently through this.
So just take that comment down and work on it separately. Anybody else have comments? I've got one more in D if you're ready. Right after the last sentence where it says subsequent conviction, you don't define any time limit. Is it within a year? And if so, is it from a year from the first or the second conviction?
Oh, no, it's lifetime.
Oh, okay.
Oh, because so it doesn't specify a time period. It's indefinite.
Yeah. Okay.
So my plan is I'm going to forward this as we rewrite it, a recommendation to a guy that was in the legislature, but still has a lot of good links. He's just leaving. Actually, he's leaving January 20th. And so he said he'll carry the water for us and get it introduced. And he doesn't see a lot of objection to it. And I'll discuss with him maybe some of his strategy and stuff, but basically, if we have to pay extra taxes, we should get some protection. So
another person, Marty, that we should maybe approach is Doug Scaff, who lives in our neighborhood.
Yeah, Doug Scaff will be the guy that actually introduces it.
Okay.
Is he in the
We know we've got Hanson in Morgantown, and he's real pro solar EV.
Yeah.
So we probably could pick up a few folks who would be
also Steve Baldwin in Lewisburg, who's in the Senate. He's
yeah. So anyway, I'll forward this to it's Andrew Bird. He's in the same neighborhood Scott and I are, and I run into him every once in a while when I'm taking my constitutional, and so I'll send this over to him and see if he likes it. This, by the way, the history of how I got this is I dropped a note to Chelsea Sexton, who's in California. She's was the star of Who Killed the Electric Car, and I had a chance to meet her last spring or last winter in Austin, and so she pointed me to this guy in Maryland who had all said there are 14 states with anti-icing laws, and of course California has the worst. And so this guy made a very simple one. I think it was Florida. Florida's was one sentence long, but this one is pretty close, I think. And the guy said that he actually looked at West Virginia law to make it sound like the rest of the West Virginia laws. He looked at parking laws, other parking laws that are on the books. So the onerous requirement is that there has to be a sign posted for it to be effective, which I think is fair.
Yeah,
so maybe we can talk about ways we can get funding for signs.
Yeah, essentially make it like a handicap parking has some teeth in it.
Yeah.
We suggest some common language to put on the sign so that everybody's not making a sign that's going to be challenged. Should we just say, we suggest that this is what the signs say?
I think we can come up with our own design that we suggest.
Yeah.
And even provide like the artwork and stuff to have signs made. But I did have another thought. Do you think that's something Chip would support or could support with his foundation?
It only at nonprofits.
But that might be like if he's providing a charger, he could provide the sign for the same group.
Yeah. I'll chat with him on that.
And even if like say it's a nonprofit that already has a charger, that maybe he didn't even provide it, but would he be willing to provide a sign to them?
Yeah, I think this is apropos because like we're saying that the Lewisburg folks don't have any signs up yet, and so let's get them a sign up, the right wording to put one up now. And you're friends with that Cliff guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was iced out. The first time I went there, it was there wasn't a parking place anywhere in the lot. They're expanding a bunch more parking spots. They should be able to. He talked about some. He talked about getting some. So.
Okay.
Whether he has that figured out or not.
Well, Marty, next time you talk to Chip, see if that's something he thinks he could support.
Okay. Chip's pretty happy with his program. He was pretty. Last text I got from him, he seemed pretty happy with the rate that he's picking up new people to install. So, but if anybody's got any ideas about more chargers, You know, like in Shepherdstown, let them know that there's a subsidy out there. They could get some money for.
Well, for Steve, that's what I was thinking. I can mention that to the contact about this program to get the free chargers, but in that particular instance, I think they're going to have some of the same challenges that Hedgesville did. Is like it's the ongoing operational cost that's
Right.
Concerns them.
Well, you know, parking meters work too.
Yeah, they'd have to figure in like a parking meter.
Well, guys, it's been fun. It's good to see everyone. Glad to know you're all surviving COVID.
So far, so good.
Yeah, we got a delivery of groceries yesterday, and the delivery guy said that a good friend of his died this week, last week. COVID.
Yeah, we had one of our church session members die. She's 85 years old.
That's a real threat.
It sure is. I'm sure all of us scientifically minded people are exhibiting very good precautions. I know I am, and my family is.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of it. I'm so tired of it.
I am too.
This is great to get to talk to everybody because I'm just sick of being in the house, and
It's what solitary confinement must be like.
I think it's all.
Spouse with conjugal visits.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to mention, did everybody see the, from a few years ago, 2.5 Men when they talked about the electric cars?
No.
I posted it on our page on Facebook. It's about 4 minutes out of a 20-minute session. But if you go to click the link, open it up, and I can show it to you if you want to, but I don't want to waste your time. But it's incredibly funny. And it was done a few years ago. But go in and go to the time that I say to start, and it's only like 2 minutes of the show, but they talk about electric vehicles that whole time. It's pretty funny.
Where did you post it, Rick?
Posted on our Facebook page on
Okay.
the West Virginia Electric Auto Association.
Okay. Well, if you've got the link, drop it in the chat in this session if you want. Right?
It's on our group in Facebook or something.
Yeah, some of us aren't on Facebook.
Watched it. No.
Any other electric vehicle news anyone wants to chat about the last couple minutes?
I just
John,
had a
you
real
been,
quick question for Bolt owners. What's this deal about the Bolt's battery thing? What's that all about?
You need. They've got over 30,000 5-star reviews. There's a
Yeah.
What?
Mine's on Hilltop Reserve, and it's, so I've got 90%, I guess, capacity is all I charge to. And I don't know whether I'm going to get the fix or not. The software fix gives you another 5%.
Yeah, if folks, I guess it was people that charged 100% and let their car sit there plugged in. And, that's not good for your battery to charge to 100%. So
No.
The only time you should charge to 100% is like right before you leave on a drive.
I posted the link, and it starts at 2 minutes and 5 seconds and lasts for 2 minutes.
Okay, thanks.
Did you get the update there, Rick?
Um,
For the Bolt.
For the Bolt?
do I need to refresh or something? I posted in the chat.
Did you hit
I
enter?
don't see it in
Or,
the chat.
Oh, wait a minute now. Maybe I.
there it
There
is.
it is. Got it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I see it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So you can copy and paste and then go to
Yeah.
2 minutes and 5 seconds.
Or you could just save chat down on the lower right, and it'll go right to your hard drive. You pick it up there.
Oh, cool.
Now, Rick, did you get the software update for your Bolt?
No, I'm not going to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not mandatory, and it's a temporary solution that they say will be reversed in sometime after January. But once you go there, it's a permanent restriction. So
Right.
I use Hilltop Reserve all the time, but I want the possibility. I mean, there's 5 out of 50,000 bolts have gotten on fire. And if I charge to full once a year, and I really need that extra 25 miles, I want that capability of doing it. And I give that up if I go and get the.
Sure.
Now, the other problem with some of you know more about this than I do. If I'm that 1 in 100, 1 in 10, 50,000 that gets a fire, and I haven't gone with that. Does my insurance cover the cost? It may be that that's how they get you. The insurance doesn't cover it if you've not complied with a recommended recall.
Well, General Motors would certainly say they're not liable because they notified you and made it available, and therefore they're not liable.
Fine.
Good point.
And I may, if I'm going to go more than that, I may charge it to 90 in the garage and then use my level 1 and go outside with an extension cord and get my last 25 miles and then take off from there. But, there's going to be a fix probably with COVID before I make that long drive. Although I think I told you I'm going to be a grandpa on January the 10th.
Yay.
So I probably won't get to see the baby until June. But COVID changes everything because you cannot quarantine and travel 400 miles. You just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys. Well, anything else before we wrap up then?
I was just going to say I was heartened to see where General Motors dropped their opposition to having California's car mileage standards.
Yep.
And Consumer Reports sent something to us and urging Nissan no, it wasn't Nissan, it was Toyota and Fiat Chrysler to do the same. And so I penned it up and I added some things to it saying, I've got 3 Toyota cars. I've had a Chrysler before. I'm not looking at your cars until you drop your opposition. And then I also added caveat, you need to get busy on electric cars. I've got a Tesla. And you need to be competing by the end of the decade. I didn't imply that you won't be around next decade at the end of the next decade if you don't get busy. So had some fun with that.
That's good. That's good. I mean, we've got a few manufacturers that are taking it more seriously, but it's tough. I mean, I do like what General Motors is doing. They're showing some signs of life. And then Volkswagen and, of course, Tesla. But, people like Toyota, it's surprising.
But the cynic in me wants to say that GM's just following the political currents, and they're going with whichever way the national politics are going. That's certainly the attitude that now guys have adopted. They're being very cynical about GM's change.
Yeah.
Scott, your microphone's messed up again.
Yeah,
I'm going to go. It's good talking to everybody.
Yeah. So long,
Thank
everybody.
you.
I'm leaving.
See ya.
See you.